Good morning, and welcome to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. This is Motivational Monday, and I do hope that you all have had an amazing week. And I say, I'm hoping that you've all had an amazing weekend. If you can hear me, can you do me a favor? Can you let me know that you can hear me by thumbs up, joining us? Thank you, and I'm hoping that you all are fairly well. Welcome to our program, as today we are motivated to help you help yourself. Vibe Talk is a Thank you so much for joining us. If we're getting any type of feedback, please let us know. We at Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. Blooming. Blooming where you are planted is our discussion today. How do we do it? How do you guys do it? We are here, and I want to say thank you. If you guys are having any type of connectivity, if you're not hearing something from me, as I welcome my um, host, as we are moving locations in the room. We're going to be moving locations in the room so we can get a better signal. Better signal. Let's do that right now. We're still here. I just had to take a better signal. So stay with us. We're not going to go to commercial just yet. This is what happens when we're live. Trust me. We know you guys are patient as we are with you. And thank you for all that you do. We have some very interesting things that we're going to talk to you about. Good morning, Trish. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
We usually try to check the sound, and I didn't get a chance to this morning, so I want to apologize. We're going to be talking about blooming. We will be right back as Trish will put in information for you guys. We'll be right back. We're back, and as you all know, we're live. I want to say, if you haven't as of yet been able to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please go and subscribe to it. And our Instagram, as I have been promising for Instagram, guess what? Saturday night, we started. And so we're going to start conversations right from Instagram. We tried it out last Saturday night. If you haven't had a chance to really go and listen to it, go listen to a sample of it. That's because we want the people on YouTube to get a chance to be able to listen to it. So blooming where you are planted talks about in any circumstances of life that you find yourself, you don't have to be stuck. You can find ways to bloom yourself. And we're going to talk about that in this podcast on Motivational Monday. We'll be right back on our Facing the Lion podcast. We'll be right back. Did you know that you could ask Alexa, Google, and Siri for Facing the Lion podcast? Go ahead. I challenge you to ask Siri and ask Alexa. We're back. And so the question for Motivational Monday is, how do you bloom where you're planted? What do you think, Trish? Let's start our audience out. What do you think about blooming where you're planted?
I think it starts with your mindset on how you think you will grow in the process of your struggle or challenge. So how I bloom in that situation, when I'm in a certain situation, I always try to think positive. I think of a way out before I think there is no way out. So that's how I bloom where I'm planted.
Love that. Love that. Thank you so much. We're talking about blooming. And we're going to ask you guys, how do you bloom despite your challenges? We're going to really open up to talk about that today. First, I want to tell you guys that I had a little fun over the weekend with the question. And I tell you, this was a question. If you were a food, or if you had a food that describes emotion, what food would you be? I chose spaghetti. One of the reasons is because spaghetti can get a little messy, and that's how my busy life is. What do you say about that, Trish?
I chose the lemon drop candies. I chose that because lemons are sour and sweet, lemon flavored things. My life is full of good and bad, but regardless, I'm still happy no
I love
matter
that.
the good and bad. So, yeah.
And we had Daniel Hermoso. Daniel said blueberry, seemingly solid, but on the inside is flavorful, mushy, and much more colorful when it is crushed. So we are asking that question all week long, in addition to some other questions. If we're not here, please go ahead and interact. The more that you interact, the more that you will become comfortable in your own skin talking about yourselves. Thank you, Daniel, for answering that Vibe Talk question. And thank you, Trish. So now, as we bloom, how do we bloom? How many of you have had a plant that you have planted and you began to know that as you started your planting that you were having a little trouble getting it started? Now, when we think about our um, metaphors in life, how many of you are feeling challenged to get your life started? You've been feeling like that flower. You've got the soil, you've got the foundation of it in your life, but now something along the way happens to disrupt, to bring about a change of environment. And so today we're going to find out about how do we, we're really going to look at this and see if you can get yourself motivated for Motivation Monday. Trish, do you have any thank yous? Any thank yous that you would like to send out today?
Not right now. Wait, I do. Sorry, I
No
forgot.
worries. No worries.
Um, um, I'd like to say thank you to. I'd like to say thank you to Jeannie, and I'd like to say thank you to Courtney Franklin McElveen for sending me a like on my music on my Trish's Treasures. I'd like to say thank you to them. Um, I'll continue to keep posting, and thank you very much for supporting me.
Thank you. Trisha's Treasure is affiliated with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. Gives you, Trish, our co-host, is able to let you know about her views and her thinking. And also that she is a major part of our Vibe Talk because you hear her music that she has so graciously started out with. So let's see if we are having any situations that keeps us from blooming. We know that things change in life. We also know that life throws at us a lot of things, curveballs, if you would. So let's think about things that have happened to us and how do we not stop ourselves, but keep ourselves from or continue to bloom. Can you to continue to bloom? Uh, some of us are like plants that no matter what we do, it just isn't right for the environment. You may feel that circumstances in your life are not right for the environment, and so you feel like you want to give up or you want to stop while you go ahead. But I would want you to be able to find joy in being planted right where you are, finding joy. We are going to talk about our paths to wellness. Why are we going to do that? Because some of us just need to do that. Monday is a day for you and I to get motivated. And if you're not feeling motivated, I'll give you something to think about. And the thought is this: let's get ready to mindset. So when we think about Motivational Monday, we want to think about mindset. And let me ask you something. If I were to individually ask you right now, mentally, where would you say you are mentally right now? Are you at a mindset that you're going to bloom no matter what your mindset is? Are you going to decide to have one foot in or be all in a mindset for this Monday and forevermore? Today, make the decision to put both feet in. Both feet in. You know, that's called all in. So I want you to be able to tell your mind, to tell your heart that you are all in to mindset and motivate yourself. We talked about loving ourselves, loving ourselves. Each day is a challenge to love yourself better than you did the day before. And how do I mean that? Because some of us really do love ourselves. And we love ourselves without thinking of anybody else. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to stay focused on the beauty that you have inside. Focus on that as you become the person that you are. I really want you to grasp that. We're going to be right back. We're going to be right back as we challenge ourselves with these things. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Thank you for that. We're back for this Motivational Monday. So, are you all in for this Motivational Monday? When we love ourselves, we are able to know that we are possible. No matter what has happened in our lifetime, we take all that we have encompassed, whether it's been challenging, whether it has created for us triumphs, tragedy, trauma, we learn to love who we are right now for this Motivational Monday and forevermore. You know, how many of us have been dissatisfied with ourselves? How many of you out there are dissatisfied with something in your life right this moment? Because People are dissatisfied with themselves. They wish for this. They wish for that. People are wanting to be flawless, or wanting to have the perfect life, or wanting to lose this, gain that. I want you to love who you are for this. How many of you feel challenged to be in the present and love who you are for this moment, this day? Because you see, that's part of blooming. Trish, what do you think?
I have a challenge with that because I'm always telling myself I could always do more, always do something bigger than I already did to satisfy myself. But then, even if I do reach that level that I was thinking about, I still want to do more. And I have to realize that enough is enough, like to let that sink in because I overwork myself with that mindset.
Now, with my co-host just saying that, how many of you actually feel that way? And we want you to tell your story. As you listen to this podcast, here's what we want you to do. We want you to be able to connect, resonate, relate. And if you're brave enough to challenge yourself today, we want you to be able to say how you feel. You know, when we're in the presence, we start to ask ourselves questions. Do you find yourself asking, when things have happened in your life, why me? How many of us have said that? I've said that.
I have.
Yeah. And so how do we bloom? How do we stay planted right where we are? In that we can bloom despite this by changing the question to, how can I make the best of the situation? See, we're not here to give you the answer. We're simply here to motivate you and mindset you for this motivational Monday. So Monday is all about mindsetting, being motivated. Here's a good thing to think about. If you haven't had any joy in your life, what joy can you bring into your life? Because after all, you are in control of your life. So Monday is the beginning of the new week. And I'm going to ask you this. Bring your chair a little bit closer. Come closer. If you are not experiencing joy in your life, what joy could you bring into your life and others as of this week? 5 days to do it. 5 days. Even if you go smell a flower, does that bring you joy? Since we're talking about blooming. In fact, the other day, I had someone stop and literally smell a rose. How many of us have done that? Or in the course of a day, find joy from the colors of the sunset, meaning that this is the end of your day. when that sunset comes as you're enjoying it, that could be a thing that you put down. If you found joy in the colors, there are various colors. Finding. How many of you work out? Anybody work out? I'm not a gym lifer. In fact,
I do.
I very rarely go to the gym, but I do get moving. My own body, my brain. And how do you do so, Trish?
Um, I work out, but I make sure it's fun. I make sure it's not, work. So I do dance workouts, whether it's to, gospel or some Michael Jackson. I do dance workouts. It has to be fun for me. It can't feel like this is a task that I must do.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys all hear that? See, that's all a part of having fun in your life. Some of us are fun snatchers. Everybody's having fun, and the fun snatcher comes in and says, what? Why is everybody having so much fun? We do that to ourselves. Give yourself permission to do just that, have fun, not necessarily making something a task. Find that, we have 5 days during the week. Find a day where you're just going to do something for you, um, because it's important to get moving. Um, I walk a lot, and I like for, even when my kids were younger, for them to be active. Your body and your brain will say, thank you. Let's get motivated as we stay planted while blooming. Blooming is another word for growth. How many of you have found yourself growing? Sometimes when we are planted where we are, we're not growing. Earlier in the first year of Vibe Talk, while on the air, I had everyone do an assignment to start a plant. And if you're new, this is your first time coming, I want you to try something. Here's what I'd like you to try. Start a project of growing a plant. And as you are making way for whatever you have planted, I want you to take care of it every day to see how it grows and how it waters. How many of you have started that project? See, this is not a task that you have to do it. It's just a motivator. If you started a project in planting, let me know. I'd love to see and watch it grow. Because if it's growing and you're not growing, there might be some things that you need to change around. But we're going to be right back. Stay tuned as we bloom together. Stay planted right where you are. Did you know that Vibe Talk has one-on-one virtually wherever you are, at work, at play, in your car? By the click of a button, you can be consulting one-on-one or group sessions with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion. All you have to do is connect with Vibe Talk. Our direct connect is 661-503-8255. 8993 or connect with our social medias. We're back. Thank you for joining our podcast, Facing the Lion. Vibe Talk, Facing the Lion. You know how I always tell you with Vibe Talk? There's always a why, when, and where. They are very important factors in our life whenever we are questioning our own selves. We need to find out why we're planted right where we are. We need to find out the why we're not growing. And more importantly, even that is not over with, because when you're growing, how do you see yourself growing? Let me start by asking you this question. How many of you have grown in the last year? And why have you grown? How do you see yourself, I should say?
I feel like I've grown in the last year because in this year, the starting of this year, I was afraid to start college, and as the course of doing all the courses and things, I've grown to realize it's all about the mindset and the motivation that I have to be resilient in whether I get a low grade or becoming the best that I can be. I have to grow the mindset of saying I can do this versus saying I can't do this or this is too hard.
Love that. Love that. It's so beautiful. And myself, I have seen how I have grown, where I used to worry so much about things I didn't have any control about. I can see myself letting go of that, because all that worrying is not going to make it better. And so when I release that, I'm helping my blood pressure. I'm not full of headaches. And we will worry some. But why worry about the things that you can do nothing about? Let's think about that as we mindset for this Monday. So each of us have to find our why. WHY. Why are you unique? And how can you bring good to yourself and others around you? And with that being said, may it be yours to find a reason to be who you are and why you are and what you are. See, because when something isn't growing, we want to find out why. Why is it not growing? Could it be that we're not nurturing ourselves with enough love, speaking into ourselves? We hear a lot of people when it comes to plants are planting, that all the vegetation and the plantery, they actually talk to their plants. Why? Because it's a living thing. Now, I don't know about you and talking with plants if you're doing that or not, but you're planted, you're here, you're planted on planted earth. Where are you planted on earth? And when we speak into ourselves positivity, we become all that and more. And while it's true that we nourish the plants that we're expecting to grow, we find the reason why. And that's when we have to ask ourselves, why aren't we growing? Not into comparison to the neighbor's plants. They might have a beautiful yard with beautiful plantery, but maybe we've started planting. The first seedling comes in, it's rooted at the very beginning. And something can disturb that, whether it's been early childhood development and the way you were rooted in life, early child development and the foundation that may or may not have been planted for you. But now, as an adult plant, I ask you today, how are you blooming? And I ask you another question about blooming. Everyone that you know lives somewhere. I don't care if you live in a tent, because there are some people who do live in a tent. You live somewhere. Where do you live? See, we are planted in our human bodies, and we need to turn that human body house into a home. Is that not true? You know, some people exist to live while others live to exist. How do I mean that? Some people enjoy life while other people are not having what is an enjoyable life. Your choice. What do? You remember how I said about my life likened to the, if it were emotions, my life would be, if emotions were food, my life would be like spaghetti, messy, because sometimes I'm so busy that I'm not organized. So what do I have to do? Clean it up, declutter, organize it, throwing things away that shouldn't be in my life, and putting in the foundation of those things that I've decluttered that are no longer needed in my life is to create a new path. See, that's how we turn our house into a home. And we're metaphorically speaking. Now, if this fits you physically, sometimes our homes, our outside environment is clutter. What do? We start to turn it into places that we love to be. I've always appreciated each room has a house, right? And each of our body system has a place. Your body has an arm, two arms, two legs. Your body has a brain that has frontal lobe, back, and right, left. Okay? Every place in your body has a function. Is it somewhere you love to be? And if you didn't understand that, I'll give you another illustration. If you have children or if you yourself, when you find love in something, somewhere you love to be, you make it your own, right? You know, take a room. Oftentimes when you have your room, you create in your room a system that you love. You know, you start with painting. Maybe if you don't paint, you're going to put up things that you like. like my office is Mickey Mouse, Disney. Because why? It's a place I love to be. So going back to the metaphors, can you see how your life and where you live, you can make the choice to declutter, change, make it better, organize, declutter, and throw away the things that are no longer useful in your life, no longer serving you. That's how we stay planted as we grow. I talked about controlling. Some people have said, my life is out of control. How many of you have felt like you have had a life out of control? Anybody? Life spinning out of control. I was that person. And I believe that I talked about it in one of our earlier podcasts. It was like a freight train. And every time I could see the freight train coming in a very mental way. And down the spiral I would go. Down the spiral. If you've seen a spiral, I want you to, if you're driving, don't do this, but maybe you can do it later. Draw a picture of what a spiral looks like. Your choice. At the end of that spiral is a cliffhanger. You're either going to decide on the way down from the spiral the things you need to change, or you're going to find yourself over the cliffhanger. Now, while I was feeling like my brain was speeding out of control like a train that was going to derail, I never went off the cliffhanger. Why? Because I had to find out that it was my life and what I could do with it. Choice. Everybody see that? You have a choice. The way that you are looking at things. Because one day I told myself, I don't want to be like this anymore. And I was brave enough to wait for that train because I had to face it. Didn't know why that was happening to me. But when I faced it and started to meet the train head on safely, because we're either going to step in front of the train or we're going to get out of its spiral. I chose to get out of the spiral. And I said, when this happens again, I'm going to meet that train. And it's going to be up to me if I want to take that ride or not. Now, going back to making sense of what I just said, how many of you feel like life is out of control and there's nothing you can do about it? Here's what I want you to do, is to remember that you have control of your life. Every decision that you make and every choice that you make. Now, there are going to be things, lions that you're going to face, challenges that you're going to face that are unexpected. See, what was happening to me was fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of the I don't knows, or fear of having a train wrecked life. See, that's what facing your lions is all about. Being able to accept the challenge, to take the ride, to meet that train. How many of you understood that? Trish, what do you think about that?
I perfectly understood that because I felt like that for the past 3 days. Um, lots happening, and it just feels like I can't control it. And the only thing that's keeping me, I'd say, stable is prayer and my spirituality. That's the only thing that's keeping me stable right now. I'm just trying to, how do I say it, function
Love
during
it.
all that's happening for the past 3 days. But I know I'll get through it. I know I can do it through God's help. I know I got it. So I understand what you're talking about.
Love it. And for the spiritual people out there, myself being uh, a spiritual person, I know the only way I have made it is through Jehovah God's help. In fact, I was just telling someone yesterday, without that help, I would not be sitting here to be able to tell you my story. And we're going to be respectful of other people who may not be spiritual, because these are just practical things in life that anybody, non-spiritual or spiritual, can think about and mindset for. You know, how many of you have a hobby, something that you really love to do, finding joy and staying rooted where you're planted and blossoming? If you've got a new habit, a hobby, I want you to love what you do. I meet so many people. So many people are artists. Trisha herself is a musician for reals. I love photography. What do you love to do? We want to open it up to the audience wherever you are. Tell us what you love to do and do what makes you happy when you find a new hobby. We're going to be right back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Stay tuned with us. Feel free to be interactive and tell us your stories. Apple Music, YouTube, and so much more. Also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot. Find us by Talk Facing the Lion podcast wherever you're listening to your favorite podcast. We're back. We're going to talk about things, writing down things. Each morning when we come in, we ask this question: what are you thankful for? And if you are listening to our podcast, we want to always have you include what you are thankful for. How do you do this? You grab yourself a piece of paper, your device, and think about 5 things you're grateful for or thankful for. And then as you do those 5 things at the end of the week, if you do that, first I'd like you to start out the Monday motivation with picking 5 things. And then I want you to gradually bloom into finding 5 things every day. And if you're really creative, take a picture of something that you're thankful for. I can think of right now 5 things I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for dads. Dads who take time with their children. I'm thankful for you, dads. A big roar to you, because that takes lion-like courage. Thank you, dads. I'm thankful for creation as Jehovah God creates all of the beauty that we see. I've been to some beautiful places. I've seen some beautiful sights. I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful for oatmeal raisin cookies. Why? Because they're so yummy. I'm thankful for my children who are alive and healthy, who have grown up to be such nice young men. I'm thankful for my grandson, that I get to wake up with him each morning and see how he has blossomed. What are you thankful for, Trish? 5 things. What are you thankful for? 5 things, Trish.
Okay. Um, First, I'm thankful for my family. There are so many times where I just realize, my family is very important to me, and they're my friends. They're my best friends. Whether I don't have any friends outside of my family, I always got them. My 16 siblings, I got them. So, and yep. I'm also thankful for nature. I am so happy that God has given a amazing view to me when I wake up in the morning, gives me motivation to go outside and actually get involved in what he's meant for us to be involved in. It's not there for nothing. And another thing I'm thankful for is lemonade. Lemonade is my favorite drink ever. So I love me some lemonade. I can drink it in the winter, spring, summer, fall. That's just me. And it makes me feel so relaxed. Another thing I'm thankful for, this is number 4. One thing I'm thankful for is my dog. He is my best friend. I love my dog. He's right next to me right now, listening to me as we speak. And the last thing I'm thankful for is music and the gift of creativity. I don't know what else I would do if I didn't have this. I really don't. So this is a very impactful, positive impact on my life. If creativity is me, it's treasure, it's who I am. So that's what I'm thankful for. All 5 things.
And so we ask you, what are you all thankful for? There's never a time where it's too late to answer that as you're listening to our podcast, wherever you're listening from. And don't forget, even when we're not here, you can text 661 503 8993. That is not a home number, that is a Vibe Talk direct connect. Even if you don't want us to read something, let us know. We'll respect your privacy, but connect with us, and you can always have something that you are thankful for. We want to hear from you. In conclusion, we want you to think about Monday's mindset and the motivation to be positive. With so much negative in the world today, let's surround ourselves with something more motivating, something more positive, bringing you positivity into your life as you bloom where you are planted in your life. When we come back, we're going to turn it over to Trisha's Treasures. Stay tuned for Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Stay with us. Be right back.
Feel free to be interactive and tell us your stories.
We are back. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to turn it over to Trisha's Treasures. Trish?
So I have a little sample to play for you guys. This is representing how music can represent your growth and where you're planted, and how it can turn into something very beautiful. I actually recorded this morning, but I'm going to use this as an example. So this is how my music is planted, how a beat is made, the first implant, and then this is where the bass, and I love the harp. It's my favorite. So I'm going to play it for you guys, and hopefully you guys can hear well of how it all joins together perfectly. So I'm going to play it now. So that's my example of how something can seem so simple where you're planted, and something can seem like, what? Why am I here in this situation? But as it progresses and as your story gets more written out in your chapters and you go on to your plot and it reaches your climax and your rising point of your story and how you build and how you blossom, it's going to be a beautiful thing. I have a fear of the unknown and how things will turn out, but music is something that helps me realize that the more I step the more I step out of my comfort zone, the more I realize that, you know, it's not just the unknown. That's the only thing that's out there. It's knowing that I can do it, that I can deal with it. So always learn to grow and learn from your growth, and never be afraid to blossom into the best that you can be, and in who you are. Where you are planted, where a seed is planted, does not change the fact that it's going to grow anyway. There are some seeds that are planted where the concrete is, and they still grow into in spite of the darkness, they still grow. And you can do the same. Thank you.
Love that. We want to say thank you all for joining us on this Motivational Monday. We want you, please, if you haven't already, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have an Instagram. And answer the question. Let's have some fun with it. If food were an emotion, what emotion would it be for you? And what are you thankful for? We want you to feel motivated. We want you to be able to have some sort of positivity, joy, despite your circumstances. That's what this blooming on this Monday morning is all about. Bloom wherever you're planted. And it's all about taking care of you. We want to say thank you from wherever you are in the world around us. And remember, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast helps you to face all of your challenges. Have a good day. I want to thank my amazing co-host. Thank you for Trisha's Treasures. We're hoping to hear so much more from Trisha's Treasures because we want you to know how it develops into people having their own uniqueness. And Trish, I've seen so much growth in you from a client to a co-host. You've earned every bit of it. We want you to make sure, Trish, that you put your Trisha's Treasures, hashtag that, because it's so inspiring. Stay motivated. And if you're not, let's get blooming. Let's get motivated. Thank you all for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. It will be up on YouTube. We're trying to make sure that we keep our podcast fresh and new for you because we know that you guys are listening. Thank all of you guys who listen to us world over. This is Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Thank you.
I was really glad the bars and I got the vibe. Really to the top. Thinking of the ride with me. Really got the vibe, baby. I already left the ride to me. You can really see I'm better you. When you get the vibe with me. Yeah. When you get the vibe with me.
Last and finally, we forgot today's what did you learn and discover about yourselves? You only forgot momentarily, but go ahead, put it in the box, and we'll talk about it the next time that we are all together. Thank you for joining us here at Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast.